What did you want to talk about?
Well, is this gonna be good enough audio?
Mm-hmm.
And you'll send to me?
Yeah, do you want to use yours?
Yeah, but I forgot the dongle that connects it.
It's fine, this is fine.
Alright. I think I'd just like to start with a bit of an origin story.
Okay. Do you want to say why you want to do origin story?
Why? Well, I just I read a lot of, you know, sometimes when you do interviews and stuff, they don't get stuff right.
Yeah.
Or it'll be kind of not the fault of the interviewer, it's just I don't know, it just happens that way, that it's kind of oh, that's not really exactly what it was. And I saw a bunch of things about me that just weren't true. So I've never really shared my history straight up. How do I want to put this? I was blessed to have a really specific and vivid, I guess I would say spiritual education or dharmic education that isn't really accessible. You know, it was very personal and very spontaneous almost. And you know, I spent years studying it. I have a theology degree. It's a big part of my background and how I understand the world. And then I came out of that because I was in love and I wanted to be in the world. And why did I want to be in the world, you might ask? Because I don't want to be a fucking monk. Excuse me, I don't wish to be a monk. And okay, maybe sometimes I do, but it's just you know, I was born in Philly. I come from a family that has never gone to Whole Foods. Okay, maybe they've gone once or twice, you know, but
But that's what we're talking about. We were talking about the idea of selling out and the problems with the idea of selling out, and that's a relevant thing to both of our art and how we've been represented, or at least for me, how I've been represented and misrepresented on the internet, and the meaning of what does that mean, selling out? That's what we're talking about, right?
Oh, so I shouldn't give an origin story.
No, you absolutely should. I'm just saying it
selling
to frame it, right? That's the idea. That's the idea that we're talking about.
Yeah,
I'm just trying to help you keep going.
Okay.
And to frame it, contextualize, you know, why we're talking about it.
So.
And I have stuff to say about that, but I want you to talk first. So you're saying, yeah.
I already want to start over.
No.
I feel I'm
Don't start over. We're totally good.
You just have to be so careful with your words, you know?
Yeah, but you also don't. And if you're being open and vulnerable, we're in an era now where you don't. You just need to be. If it's a long thing like this, we're talking for a long time. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I think that's the right energy to have, and that also ties into how I feel about the idea of, but keep going, of selling, of the problems with that idea.
Mm-hmm.
You were in Philly. You grew up in Philly in a certain way.
Yeah, and my family, no fault to them, but they cried when I went to India. They begged me not to go. They were so scared of the idea of it, you know, of me going off into this thing that was just very foreign to them. You know, they didn't understand it. The only reference they had for meditation was that it was this really scary thing. I think, you know, and I came back from it and I was very different. I didn't want to get dressed up. I didn't want to I just wasn't the same, and it was really hard for them. It really upset my grandmother, and you know, and she's just, you know, she's an old woman. She's not from that discipline. She doesn't understand. She's not supposed to understand. Like, you can't like force someone to like drink a certain type of water. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Basically, when I started making TikToks, I was dead broke, living in what had formerly been a trap house. Like, the ceiling had caved in the kitchen.
Yeah.
There was spray paint on the walls. There was a fish tank with trash bags of like human shit in it. No running water, no heat. And we like obviously cleared that away,
Yeah.
you know, and like cleaned things. But it was like a pretty dire situation. I was kind of coming into that realizing like, oh, I need to like fix this right now. Like, I need to change my life right now. I cannot live like this any longer. And I mean, growing up, I was like the wise child, you know, like a tale as old as time. Like, I think I sort of understood my worth as like being able to like help people, being like an adult to my parents, like being a good listener. Like, that's just like what I always did. It's how I understood friendship, was like listening to someone and answering their problems. And like, I was also coming from this like really precious religious background where I was getting all of these questions from girls all over the world, and I was like, I can help this, I can fix this. And like, that year when I started, I was doing anything I could. Like, I was videos, podcasts, advice, meditation, anything. Like, I didn't sleep, you know, I didn't leave the house. Like, I was just like, anything I can do, like, let me build this, you know, let me make like 500 images, like whatever needs to be done for us to get out of this fucking house. And that's how it started. And then I had this dream, or it wasn't really a dream, it was a vision. And yeah, I've mentioned this in interviews, but I want to be like straight about it because it was like real, you know. I think it sounds kind of funny, but I was sitting at a table and I heard this like voice, and I don't normally like hear a voice, you know, but it was like in the top of my head, and it was like metallic, and it was like, go upstairs and lie down, I have to show you something. And so I went upstairs and I lied down, and immediately I was like taken out of my body. And I zoomed up out of the city, out of like, I could see the world, I could see the stars, I could see the planets. And these angels came and they showed me everything. They showed me everything that was to come. They showed me the fame, they showed me the money, whatever. And they were like, you just need to go as hard as you can. Like, you need to keep sharing and posting and never look back, never question it. Just keep going, just keep putting things out, share. And I was like filled with the light of the Holy Spirit. I swear to God. Like, before then, I had been pretty like afraid.
Miracles.
In a way, it was a miracle. It changed my life. It gave me this like
But people have visions. That's what.
I haven't since then, but it like gave me this sense of urgency. Like that this was what I was supposed to do, that I was supposed to be there, that I had this responsibility to carry out. And that's what I've been doing. And every single person in my life has told me to stop. Everyone has said that, like, this, you need to stop, you need to take this down, you need to stop doing this, this isn't going to work, this isn't a job, you can't do this, this isn't, like, possible, this isn't how it works, you know.
It's between you and God.
Like, this isn't allowed is a big one. Like, you're not allowed to do this. You're not able to do this. And I don't feel any type of way about that. Like, everyone is just trying to, like, relate and, like, help and understand. And it is really, like, it's not, like, literally dangerous, but it's, like, a fine line, you know? And there's a lot of darkness that comes out with it. Like, I feel a lot of the time like I'm going really fast through a tunnel that's full of, like, ghosts. And I'm trying to tunnel towards the light, but there's a lot of maybe more darkness.
Yeah, exactly. The more light you're close to, the more shadow it casts.
And look, here's the thing.
Yeah.
If I am a false prophet, you know, if this is like, if it's like in some way my psyche is lying to me and I do just want a lot of money, like I am just like this materialistic person, then I'm the one who's going to go to hell.
Right.
You understand?
Right.
Like you can say whatever you want about it.
Diviners in Dante.
No, exactly. But if I'm wrong and I'm like
Right.
incorrect and I'm actually not helping people, like if I'm hurting, if
Right.
I'm selfish,
Right.
I will suffer the
That's gonna
consequences
be-
of that.
yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I'm like fully aware of that. Like this
Yeah.
is my karma that I'm like creating.
Yeah.
So like whatever comes of it, whatever like, you know, omniscient force decides if I'm good or bad, like I will suffer the consequences of that. It's like this is my life, you know?
Yeah.
And I don't mean to sound like self-important. Yeah.
Yeah. But what were you feeling that made you want to go in right now today? Or should I say what I was thinking?
Sure.
Because, okay, well, the idea, the similarities, but you were also saying people were imposing narratives onto you that weren't true. Is that what kind of started it?
Yeah, I mean, I saw a video this morning that was like, had like 500,000 views, and it was like, oh, like so sad to see like Satsi go down like the wealthy influencer pipeline, like of living in New York and LA. I've never been to LA, first of all. I've never set foot in the county.
Yeah.
But I guess I'm also going to say, like, something that shifted for me in the past year is my mom got really ill, and that incentivized me to make money. That made money suddenly important. The idea that I could help my family and, like, support. And I've never said that because it's not anyone's business.
Yeah.
Or at least it's like, you know, it's private. It's like family stuff. But I don't come from wealth, and like I feel very blessed at the very least that I have this gift that enables me to like protect the people closest to me. And you know, even in like the Buddhist schools, I remember this one time, like a disciple came to a teaching when his mom was sick at home, and the guru was like, get the fuck out of here, you know, like go be with your mom, like what are you doing?
Okay.
Like that comes first, you know?
Yeah.
And that's a lot of what this is. It's like I have promises to keep.
Yeah, but and you were also in a circumstance that you had to do. Like, not many people are pushed to that point where or not many people can get into that state where they're just sharing stuff really intuitively and quickly, and like have to make stuff happen in order to like improve their circumstances. There's not a lot of people that are in like creative circles, I feel like, or that's just something you did on your own. I don't know. It's just reminding me of.
Go ahead. Can I also say,
I
like,
want to let you say everything you have to say before I start making it about me.
I don't think I'm like wise. Well, actually, I do think I'm wise, but like super like deep, or that the things I share are like profound or special, or like that I don't think I'm good at anything. Like I don't feel like what's that thing? What's the opposite of like you know, like what's it called? Inferiority complex, or like what's that thing called?
When you have a God complex?
No, the opposite.
Oh, the opposite of inferiority complex.
Or where it's like you know, it's like someone gets a job and they're like, I don't deserve to be here.
Imposter syndrome.
Right.
You don't feel imposter, yeah.
No, I do. I
you
get,
do.
or I don't know. It's just like I don't feel like entitled to this space necessarily. I just like, I try not to think about it. Like I don't like take the time. I'm just like going.
Right. You're channeling like Course in Miracles.
Yeah, and I don't think the work is good even. Like it's very rare that I do something and I'm like, yes, like this is good.
Yeah.
It's just like, I don't know.
But But you feel like you're trying to help people with what you're sharing.
Yeah, I do.
That's the orientation of what you're sharing.
And I used to be a lot cleaner about that. Like, I used to pray every single time and be like,
Yeah.
may this please be a benefit. And then I kind of got to a point where I realized, don't do as I say, but like, what's the opposite? Don't do as I, just like,
As I do.
live by example, and just being really like authentic and transparent.
Yeah. But, yeah. Okay, should I say what I was thinking? Well, I guess, like, the similarities are, I was moving in a way where I was sharing way more, like, my writing is also to help people. Like, it's, like, uncomfortably vulnerable. But then if someone is in a circumstance where they feel like no one understands the situation that they're in, they will be able to be helped by hearing the story. And I was also sharing way more vulnerably with how much I was sharing with my podcast and stuff. And then I was just doing that in a way that was belligerent, and also I was doing that continually for no recognition or even against what people in my life were saying that I was continuing doing. And then I reached a point where other people, due to all kinds of random circumstances, other people or mainstream people paid me money for the book. You know what I mean? And then that's when everyone was saying, "Oh, you're a sellout. You're a rich kid," or whatever like that. But the thing about that is, if you are trying to inspire people. But the reason why, so initially, what I was going to say earlier was that initially people get upset with that because you're doing something that's like vulnerable and relatable to some people because of how low it's making you seem. But in the long run, like, it's important. In the long run, people will. Damn, dude, I'm trying to talk like Joe Biden right now. I think you just don't know how you're inspiring people. I don't know, just the same thing happened to me. The same thing happened to me is pretty much what I wanted to say. But if it's someone like you who is able to occupy or like reach more people, then it's showing like a path that other people can follow. If you're like ascending to like higher reach, like, and because that's what it's about, right? Like, you get like,
and it feels like you've left them behind because
but you're actually showing like a larger arc. That's how I feel. But then, like, it's weird that people do that where it's like they can't, because you're okay. So if I'm going like early on, if I'm going like, to like 100 listeners, like, hey, I'm just a guy like, walking around, like, I read this book, and like people are like, whoa, like I'm just like him.
Mm-hmm.
He talks like me, or just thinking about stuff randomly, vulnerably, doesn't need to be really smart. I'm like, I'm like him, whatever. And then if suddenly, a big publishing house pays me money and then starts saying I'm the next whatever, then initially they feel like it's like a betrayal somehow, because then they're no longer like you, and they need
no longer relatable.
Yeah, and then they need to say, well, there's no way they could be like me. Like, it must be that they're in a different class of stuff, right? Because that's what happened, where it was like literally, and also I'm in the same position where I have absolutely no what's it called, safety net.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why it pushed me to keep
Mm-hmm.
doing stuff. And I had to reach a point of complete desperation to have to tell a completely vulnerable story, or have to completely like belligerently go forward, and everyone's like, you need to try to get it, get it to change your life or something like that. And I just kept going like that, and that's why it pushed me to that level. But then people need to justify how it was possible for you to ascend just by doing what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's why they impose that on you, that you must come from a different thing, a different sphere of society. You know what I mean?
Well, it's not even that part, like, I don't know, it doesn't, like, bother me if someone says that, because I feel like it's kind of like a compliment, almost,
Right.
like, it seems like...
But that's kind of what we're talking about, right?
Yeah, no, that is what we're talking about. I guess what I mean to say is, like, I feel like there's oftentimes this assumption, and this isn't just about me, I just, like, hear this narrative a lot, that, like... Hold on, I have to turn off the air conditioner.
Yeah, it's probably okay too.
I think it's okay.
Yeah. But
Sorry, there's like some white noise.
just to finish that thought is that you know what the truth is.
I don't know if I do. I don't know if I do.
No. You know what the truth about your circumstances. You know you've never lived in LA. You've never been to LA.
I'd like to go.
You know exactly, and that's the problem too. If you're in a totally open-minded state, okay, and also if you don't need to push, because I sometimes think of the people specifically who slandered me in that way and said, "Oh, he's a rich kid, he has connections." It's like, no, I went to good schools on full-ride scholarships because of my family background. Like, that's an absurd thing. Like, oh, I went to Swarthmore, it's kind of like they paid for my whole thing just based on my mom's income. You understand? Like, what that means? And like, that's fucking that's affirmative action. I went to school affirmative action. You know what I'm saying? Like, and the thing that's kind of unfortunate is like the people who do slander you like that. You know that they haven't been pushed to that circumstance where they need to. Or I don't know if I can speak for everybody, but oftentimes it's.
But it's not good or bad. It's just it's math.
It's survival instinct.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not good or bad. So that's why I can't even really defend myself, because I think.
I don't wish for anyone to have to go through that. I don't want my children to ever have to feel like that.
That's exactly what I said in the thing I wrote, where it's like, this is how I've done it, but I don't even want to advise that to everybody, to be in a circumstance where you almost feel like, you're completely desperate and you're like, you need to like channel whatever you can to be able to, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want, so then it's like, you don't even, but secretly I know that they haven't been, like, a lot of people don't have that absence of a safety net, and they do have a safety net, and they have an idea about wanting to be. It's like we were talking about the Philistine mode, where it's like, you don't have. I don't know if you would dig inside and find the most urgent story in terms of how I work if you didn't have to. And part of me understands that, and you can't even really communicate that to somebody, like how they could. Whether they would even want to.
That's the thing, though, is there are like other things worth consuming besides like an urgent story, even.
Yeah.
It's like a specific, I don't know, in my case.
But you're urgently trying to find things that would help people. That's literally what I'm saying. I'm saying finding the most urgent story. It's what could help the most people.
I also, like, on the point of relatability, on not being relatable, I'm honestly not sure if I've ever been relatable. I had, like, I didn't have any friends growing up, I was always, like, really on the outside of things, and, like, I guess when I was younger, like, really badly wanting to be inside, but, like, I had so much pain as a child. Like, I remember like crying in my room because I felt in my bones that there was no place for me in the world. Like, I knew that I couldn't like do the things that my parents did, you know what I mean? That I felt there wasn't a job for me, there wasn't a life for me.
Right.
I remember we had to take this like quiz at school to determine our job, and I got fucking mortician,
Damn, you got mortician?
Yeah, I got mortician. And Which is like, honestly,
am
like
too.
that's like chill if you're a mortician. Like I just,
I'm
nothing.
just resuscitating the dead. Kinda.
I like,
Yeah.
and I've always like, I don't know, like, I don't think I'm like, oh, what I wanted to say earlier is like this narrative I've seen.
Yeah.
A lot of people kind of assume that when something is nice
Yeah.
or good or doing well or
Yeah.
pretty,
Yeah.
that there's something like ugly behind the curtain,
Exactly.
that there's like something sick happening, like
Exactly.
Wizard of Oz. You like pull back the curtain
Yeah.
and it's like that little, I don't really remember the story.
Yeah.
But there's nothing there.
That's what I'm saying.
You know, there is no joke, there is no secret. Like maybe there are secrets in the government, but
Right,
it's like,
right. Can I say something about that?
you may.
Because that's exactly what I was ranting in my email. We're gonna just paywall all this, right?
I was gonna make it public.
Oh, you're gonna make it public. Okay, well that's what I was ranting.
Or maybe not, I don't know.
Yeah, we can make it public. That's good. That's good. I was ranting. I didn't mean to introduce.
Is this like
that here.
solipsistic? Like, is it
No,
kind
it's-
of like
it's good.
overindulgent?
It doesn't matter.
To
It
be
doesn't
like,
matter. It
oh,
doesn't
blah, blah,
matter. It
blah.
doesn't matter. We're just having a conversation. Let's not even worry about where it's gonna go. Because that's the
Okay.
mode to be in.
Okay.
But this is exactly what I was saying about a friend of mine who was writing this essay about a book that did really well, and it was a kind of religious book. And what? No. It doesn't really matter, but about a kind of religious book.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So and the first draft was, well, damn, I don't want to put them completely on blast, but part of the essay was going, oh, was this all like was there some nefarious thing under
Was
it?
this all a lie?
Yeah, was this all a lie? Asking the question, was this all a lie? Was this some big plan, nefarious plan? You know what I mean? And with something on that scale, I don't know whether it is or whether it isn't. But I felt this thing and I expressed it to her in my letter. I hopefully like in a good way. It was more not to critique the essay, because especially if you're reporting on an essay, you might want to do stuff like that, you know. But for me personally, as on an artist level, of hearing someone who is kind of inspired and mystified by a book, I'm not really that interested in stuff I can't know about what's behind it.
Well,
right?
also, isn't a lie a wish for the truth?
But listen what happened with me. The extent of it. Like isn't a lie a wish for truth? I didn't mean to cut you off.
Do you want to say what happened to you?
Okay, yeah.
Because maybe not everyone knows.
Yeah. So working completely by myself, aware of writing online, but from 2013 is when I finished undergrad, all the way until 2019. That's 6 years. Out of school, and it's like you say with like getting mortician is your thing. Some people go, oh, like you went to a good school, why didn't you just get a good job? I went to school and I studied philosophy and writing, and I'm just not, that's just not my mode to like get a good job because I went to good school. I don't look at things like that. I was committed to making art that could help people, whatever that was, and I did that for 6 years, moving in different places, working different, completely, sometimes in a vehicle, just committed to it, and still doing it, and some things falling away, relationships falling, health breaking down, and then in 2019, finding an editor who loved what I was doing, and gradually generating this momentum for my book, the book I was writing, and then in 2021, him overdosing and dying, right when the book was about to be finished, right when I'd already signed the contract for $3,000 to publish the book, and he just wanted an agent to confirm it. Then the agent works on it, and then he overdoses, and then a month later, and all this attention, the book is about to come out, a new press, all this attention on it, and then a big house buys it. Little Brown buys it for more than $3,000, and then all my peers, all my friends who were texting me, particularly one writer who I just been publishing, we've done podcasts together, he's texting me, oh, the book is gas. You know what I mean? Then he starts trying to, and then also someone else close to me dying in a crazy way, but then he starts trying to fabricate this beef to get attention for his thing. and then starts just saying, I'm like this manipulator, I planned it all along, you know, and like, you know, other allegations about, which is just absurd, you know what I'm saying, about like how the similarities between our projects, because I was just, you know, and then it led to this whole pile-on where I'm getting like over 50, like, just, you know, Goodreads, just like, everyone's just slandering the book before the book is even finished. In August of 2021, the book didn't come out till January 22. We're still editing it. And it's because I was just being, you know, sharing everything. Oh, you want to read it? Here.
He said you copied him before
No.
it was finished?
Yeah. But also he said, but the thing is, we'd already been, like, he already said he fucked with, you know, the book is next level. Like, he fucked, and a bunch of people were working in this style. It's, you know, he didn't invent anything. He just got upset. It was just because of the money. But let me tell you the extent that it went, right? This idea that something can't just be good and gas, and someone sees it, and it's been in this incubation period where I'm not listening to anybody else, and it's being cultivated by just people who, you know, who fuck with the, you know, have the vision. There's one of the kids, literally, there's that whole idea that I masterminded this whole thing. Why would I mastermind the two closest people in my life? Yeah, like, that's so insane. You understand? There's whole threads and even small chapbooks written that's implying that I'm CIA.
Wait.
Yes.
Actually?
Actually. And there was threads. It's like, he moved a lot growing up.
Military.
Yeah, he has his family, his uncles in the military, you know, because I write about it in the book, like, you know. That is so insane, dude. And it shows, and then, or even like with like certain stuff around how people died and stuff, and literally making up stuff, saying stuff like that. Like, you know what happens sometimes when people die in traumatic ways? People don't want to talk about it. Sometimes people want to grieve inside. You know, that's also a thing that happens too. Mm-hmm. Not everything has a nefarious, it's like, and I was just writing that in the email where I was just like, it's doing research on the project, but like, it's also like, can something be like successful and good and speak to some cultural energy and cultural question that resonates with people without having some nefarious mastermind plan behind it? You know, I almost would even say that with some of when like conspiracy stuff gets too crazy. You know, I mean, I'm down with some conspiracy stuff, but, or like, you know, I'll listen to stuff, but it's like, also it's like, if you get too crazy, it's like, aren't you kind of giving people too much credit? Like, humans are running around and they're trying to do the things that they want to do for themselves. I don't think like that many people could perfectly orchestrate, you know? And it's actually kind of like it's like, it's weirdly giving stuff too much credit, you know? Like those kids who turn on me, it's like, you're giving me way too much credit. You know, life doesn't work like that. But if you get to the point where the question is, can you get this in every public library? Like, Gian just wanted, my editor who died just wanted the most people possible to read it. And we were holding, not putting it out impulsively, so only a few people would see it. And then I could feel a moment of, yeah, I did it, which is what all those kids do. And then they get upset after because they didn't have any patience or discipline, you know? Not doing that. And then there's an opportunity for the project that my editor who died can have as much reach as possible and not be impacted editorially, which was my only stipulation. Of course I would do that. You know what I mean? That's not selling out. That's showing that you can do just what you want to do, just what you are called to do, committed fully, against what everybody else is saying. And then people can listen. It's a larger rebirth. And even with everything that happened, I'm okay with that being part of my story now. Because since then, I've just completely tunneled in on my vision still and forwards forward. And that's what I was talking to the guy who was making the documentary. It's like, you create a more intimate path that people can relate to, even when other people are slandering you. Because people can especially now, it's like people can just smell out nonsense much better now, you know, like individually, and they might not be the ones commenting and liking on a thing, you know, but they're there, and that's what you keep doing it for. That's what I wanted to say to you this morning, really, when you were saying all that. Did I explain that clearly enough?
I think so.
Sometimes I've told that story so many times that I don't really know what to say, or like, yeah, I just assume people know, but people don't know.
I had something similar happen, and I've never spoken about it publicly because I didn't want to give it any air. I was really close with this girl when I was living in that house. And I also, like, I'll, like, paint this picture a little bit. Like, I'm, like, really, like, huddled in there trying to make something happen. Like, I wouldn't leave for days, you know, and it's, like, pretty scary in there. Like, everything smells kind of moldy, and, like, you turn on the sink and, like, brown water comes out, and, like, all of our shit was in trash bags, and there was asbestos everywhere. Like, anything you touched got really dirty. So we just had, like, and, you know, we did improve some things over the time we lived there, but, like, imagine, like, a corner that has, like, trash bags and, like, wood panels and, like, cardboard boxes, and just, like, everything we owned was kind of, like, filthy and, like, always, like, wet. Like, everything was a little bit wet all the time. And then we had a mattress on the other side of the room, and there was no heat. Like, eventually we got heat, you know, but it was, like, even in, like, everything was so filthy, and, like, I would just sit there, like, on that mattress with my laptop, and then, like, eventually we, like, found another mattress on the side of the road, and that was the mattress I'd sit on to work, you know, and the other one was the mattress I'd sit on to sleep. And, like, we would eat, like, this, like, man would give me eggs, and so I'd go get those eggs, and then we'd go to Chipotle and we'd, like, split half of the burrito, and then we'd eat the next half the next day, you know, or we would, what was the app, Too Good To Go? Did you ever do that?
No, what's that?
It's like restaurants will give you, like, old stuff that they can't sell anymore, but it, like, random shit, you know, like, sometimes we get something good, like, it would be like, oh, we got quinoa and like the sub, but sometimes it would be like pastries, you know, and we'd eat them for days.
You're full on scrapping.
Just like, not leaving the house, like, wearing, like, sort of, like, and everything was, like, a little bit wet, you know, wearing these, like, big damp clothes that smelled weird, and, like, for days, you know. And, like, again, it did get better, like, when the money started coming in, you know, we got, like, things fixed, and my mom helped a little bit with stuff, and, like, so on. But I'm in this, like, this weird little shoebox, and I'm posting so much, like, I'm posting as much as I can. I'm doing this company in Israel would give me, like, $400 if I would, like, talk about their app, you know, and, like, everyone I grew up with is seeing this also, you know, it's, like, really, like, raw. And this girl starts messaging me around then, this, like, beautiful, successful girl is like, I like what you're doing, you know, you seem cool, and she's, like, believing in me, sort of. She's like, this is cool, this is good, you know. And I feel so excited that she's talking to me, and, like, it's like a lifeline, and we start talking every single day, and, like, I'm very focused, you know. I'm, like, putting out stuff as much as I can. I'm so hungry. I'm, like, making these posts. I make the Patreon. The day that Patreon changed my life. It changed everything for me. And the first day I made it, I remember 12 people joined right away, and I lied on the floor crying because I just was, like, so, like, humiliated. Like, I was like, I don't know. I'm just like, why the fuck are you following me? Like, leave me alone. Like, let me die here in this room. I don't know. And, like, I would, like, clean up for camera and stuff, but, like, I was never clean. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but it was so dirty there. It was, like, anywhere you sat.
Why'd you clean?
No, it was, like, we did clean, but it just, I don't know how to explain. Like, it just, like, came out of the walls. It was like
that's how I was living. That's why I had a whole health breakdown.
well, like look up. Okay, so like this windowsill. Imagine it's just like caked in dirt to the point that it can't be. You know what I mean? Like it's in the crevices, it's in the cracks, the windows. Like everything was just filthy, and like whatever. Yeah.
This girl.
So I'm friends with her now, and we talk every day. I feel close to her at least. Like she's one of my closest friends at that time, and like she also is, I want to say, like spiritually oriented in her content. Like she's like an influencer who is trying to like bring people to be more introspective, like sharing things that you don't normally see online. And I'm so with it, you know. I'm like, this is awesome. Like I love how you're doing this. And then, you know, I'm working, there's like momentum growing. I'm making these images, which maybe you're familiar with them, you know, it's like, it was like a PNG with like a phrase under, and they were so yummy to me, and I made so many of them, and all of a sudden everyone is making them, you know, and it's like this wave that I'm on where like we're all doing this, and people are like joining the Patreon, and I'm putting out as much as I possibly can, you know. I'm doing like guided meditations, I'm doing podcasts, I'm like reading all these books, I'm like writing these pieces. I start like, you know, like we have money now, we're going to the grocery store and like filling the fridge, we're like fixing things in the house, and it gets to a point where I'm like, I need to take what I have and like I need to give it a home, I need to run with it, and I can't stay here anymore. I can't, there's no reason for me to be here in this fucking house, like living like this. Like I don't have to do this anymore, I can leave. And I'm with someone at the time, and we're like trauma bonded, honestly. We've like been through all this stuff together, and it's on the night that I'm leaving him, I sit and I like hold his hand and I tell him, and you know what he says to me? He says, this is the only thing he said. He said, we're like Venus and Serena. And I said, what do you mean? And he said, giants have to play a part.
What does that mean?
Venus and Serena couldn't play together because they were too good. And we get all of our shit back in those fucking trash bags, you know. We like empty out that place in a week. We hire these like, this like African family comes, and they're like painting the house with us, like their little kids are running around, you know. And it's like get everything out of this fucking house, you know. We're getting all of our shit, like all of my things fit in 2 boxes, and we bring them to my mom's house, and it's just time to go. And that night she calls me, and I'm literally like moving my things out with trash bags and like saying goodbye to this boy who's been with me through everything. Like I like can't talk to you right now, like it'll just, and I think she sends me a bunch of voice memos, you know, the long ass voice memos, and I text her and I'm like, can we talk tomorrow? Like I'll call you tomorrow, I have a flight, like I'll call you in the morning. I get the COVID booster because I'm that morning we wake up at like 5 a.m. and we go out to like way fucking south, and I get the COVID booster because I'm scared they won't let me into the country if I don't have like my documents or like my updated documents. And I get so sick, like I have this like crazy fever, and I'm like saying goodbye, and I get on the flight, and I literally get off the plane.
Flight to where?
To Amsterdam, which is where Paige was living. I had to go, you know, and this was like a place I could go to. I didn't know where else. Well, yeah, my close friend lived out there and was like, come, like, stay with me, like, we'll figure it out. Just like needing a place I could like work, you know, needing something clean, needing something fresh. And I get off the flight, and she's made like 10 videos, and I've actually never watched them because I like to this day I don't know exactly what happened in them. But no, I find out because I'm getting these crazy comments. People are like, I can't believe you did this, like, and I'm like, what did I do? And she like, I didn't actually watch the videos, but it was just that I had like been like planning this all along
What is
and
it with
had
this, dude?
copied
You're
her
actually
entire
kinda making
had
him like a
copied her
god.
entire personality,
Yeah.
had taken everything from her,
Yeah.
had like stolen her, and it's like, yeah, and we were really good friends.
Yeah.
I loved her.
Yeah.
And I was shocked. Like,
Yeah.
I had no idea that she felt this way.
Yeah.
She, you know, we talked every day. She had never said anything to me like this. And like, you have to understand, if you like work on social media and you post something on social media, then that's about money and that's about business.
Yeah.
Like, she could have called me.
Yeah.
You know, you could have just called me.
Yeah. That's a play. It's a play. It's an attention play. Posting those videos is a play. Because, why did she do that? Because your Patreon was hidden. That's why. That's the only reason why.
And like, I
understand?
also, I want to say, maybe this goes without saying, but like, I know what I know because I like suffered for it. Like, I was in situation, I would climb up a fucking mountain looking for a guru. You know, I would go there and I would say, teach me something. Like, I'm not leaving. I couldn't shower. Like, I was like taking shits in holes, you know? Like, yeah. And I'm like.
No, but listen. That's the only reason why. Like, this is about, like, my book is about creativity. It's about, no, listen, let me just say
I'm
this.
not listening.
Like this. Literally, my book, part of my book, is a person going through the world, and things are happening, crises are happening, and this keeps happening over and over again. He talks to someone, he reads something, or he listens to something that completely alter how he's been making things, and directly gets impacted in the form of how the book is continuing. And the person that he's listening to, or got inspired by, is completely laid out there. Do you know what I'm saying? And that's a pretty generous and not the way people do art. And I'm literally showing that because when people come to me and they say, how do I write a book? How do I do what you're doing? I say, stop emailing me. Read. Go fucking put your fucking headlamp on and your hard hat on and start mining. And that's
Mining?
Mining, yeah. Mining the whole, like a miner.
Like, literally mining?
No. Reading. Eating.
Uh-huh.
Developing your taste. Spitting out things you don't like. Taking in things you do like. And gradually, your own taste develops. But it's all off the web of everything you've been eating. And your ability to process it and figure out what you like and do it yourself. This is how all creation is. You know what I'm saying? That dude who said I copied him, he has direct line of influence that you can trace further back. You know what I'm saying? Of work. Literally, the phrase of the style I was working in that book with the centigraph was coined by somebody else. This dude Noah Cicero, you know, of working in this. It's a more immediate way where you sent, and that was all based on older things. You know what I'm saying? And the insecurity of influence is the most inhibiting thing to creativity. Because it says, you know what should get rewarded? Digging through how you are as a receptive person in art. You know what I'm saying? That's what should get rewarded. Everyone else is like, oh, go copy somebody. Go copy something. Or whatever that means for you. Go eat. Go listen to other. You know what I'm doing constantly the whole time? And the whole podcast it's just a record of everything I've been taking in. Right? So it's like there is no original at all. You know what I'm saying? Everything comes from something else. There's only one original. That's the sun or the source of life. That's God.
No, and like,
you know what I mean? Everything is based off of, and we were close too. We were so close. We are also grieving things together. Just us three. Me and the dude who's, slandered me, and everybody, and a third friend who's just also completely mentally unstable. That's why I couldn't say anything back, because it was like, you boys are struggling. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm getting a little bit, but the thing is, we were grieving something together, and it was the same thing. They knew exactly what I was dealing with, like two of my closest friends dying and trying to fabricate some beef for your attention, but And
No, I mean, that was the thing, is I was influenced by her and I
Yeah.
loved her.
Yeah.
You know, but she waited until I got the copy of her book and posted that shit to like drop her whole thing. You know what I mean?
that's the same thing with me. Listen, I didn't have any. I have an acknowledgement to that person at the top of my book. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And that's because before the book, literally the book took the longest thing that for the process of the book was getting every person's lines I cited. Because it says, oh, I went to a reading. You ever heard of this person Eileen Miles? Yeah, I was reading them. This is what I read.
I love Eileen Miles.
I love Eileen Miles. This is what I read by them, and this is how it inspired my work. And then next chapter, this rapper. I had to get permissions from every single person that happened. When Gian decided to write that book, he said, email everybody who you're quoting and start getting permissions. I had to get permissions from Sheila Hedy. She didn't respond to me for like 9 months. She was upset. I said, that's fine. That part would just not be in the book.
I didn't think it was bad what you wrote about her.
No, she went straight to the part. Yeah, it wasn't bad. But I'm just saying, because it was an email, that was a little more intimate, Mm-hmm. But same with Dave, Pink, the dude who sent me. There's a part where his lines were in the book. Exactly what I was reading and the aspect of what he was doing that I was doing,
Mm-hmm.
And it was different, like how we were doing it. Completely different. I have way more influences. It's a different kind of book. It's a whole different kind of project where I'm going vulnerable.
Well, you're writing about your life.
Yeah, I'm writing about my life and it's like a way more intimate and vulnerable. His is a persona. Like if you read his books, he's always like the crazy guy and everything's absurd, and that's not his name.
Well, you're kind of crazy.
I'm kind of crazy too, but I always go soft at the end, and it always goes gushing.
I'll just say like he is like genuinely 100% crazy.
Who?
You.
Okay, yeah, a little crazy, but it's not a persona.
Mm-hmm.
I'm crazy because it's unhinged that I would share so much. This dude's whole thing is like, I mean, his avatar is like a cartoon. It's like he's like a cartoon character kind of, and he does that sick. But the problem was that email that I asked him if I could cite the lines is what got cycled, and that's fine. As soon as you don't want to do that anymore, we took those lines out.
Mm-hmm.
But then after the book got sold, this dude's calling me all sad, bro. Like I'm fucking broke, Like, and he had a good book deal. He had a $15K book deal. He's like, I want more money. So everything that he was doing, he said I was doing, right? Like, oh, he's scheming. This dude's a schemer. I think that's I don't really know what that essay, that it was written about me was about. Basically, it's saying I'm like a manipulator and a schemer. It's like, no, I signed a $3K deal. I was good. Then all this stuff happened. And that dude took his book away from the book deal and wanted to get more money.
But that's the other thing about it. Like, it's like you're a manipulator.
This is
Why would I manipulate you? Like, do you know what I mean?
Exactly. It's not even a beef.
Like, I would make this whole,
I felt bad for you, so I couldn't even beef with you.
I would make this whole thing just to, like, trick you.
But I'm saying that's what happened. That's why I put the acknowledgement there. Where he's over here saying, I edited this guy's book this guy paid me $5,000 to edit his book, and he didn't credit me. I'm like, damn, bro, that's fucked up. He's like, it's COVID too. I got a shitty job, bro. Like, I'm delivering all these grievances. First of all, I have a helping impulse. You have a helping impulse.
No, I don't.
With the
Okay,
content you put out.
sure I do.
But it needs to be directed
to
everybody.
Can I say why I have that?
But it needs to be directed at everybody. It can't be directed to individual people. Because that's what started happening. And I said, damn, bro. And this is literally 3 weeks after my girlfriend and my editor died in the same week. Right? Mm-hmm. So I'm going, damn. And I'm a robot helping everybody. Like, suddenly you're grieving. They're all coming to you. I'm just trying to help everybody, like, be okay. And he's calling me, oh, what the fuck? I'm like, damn, bro, that's fucked up. He's like, yeah, I think someone else stole this. I'm delivering water. I'm sad. I'm like, damn, bro, I'm sorry. Like, you good? First of all, why? That's not my responsibility. What the fuck was that?
What was that? It sounded like an animal.
It sounded like an animal.
Should I pause it?
No.
Is there something?
No.
It sounded like an animal.
It was some food or something like just this animal.
Oh.
But wait, just to finish that rant. Just to finish that rant was that's when I put the acknowledgement in there on the top, you know? Because before it was just listing a bunch of people that influenced me equally, you know? And I said, let me give you a sick acknowledgement. And then he, you know what I mean? He like waited for all this. And I'm literally at home, like with my mom, like
Crying.
I'm in shock. I'm PTSD. And then he keeps going, I want to do a podcast. And I said, I'll come to your house. We'll do a I'm driving across country. I'll come to your house. I know this dude's like unhinged and like strapped up and stuff. I'll come. Like. Yeah. You know, just randomly. Yeah, from a friend. You know, and I'm like, I'll come to your house. And we'll do a podcast now. It's like, don't come to my house, because I knew his address from
friendship.
From friendship. I'm driving across the country. This is in Michigan. I can dox his state. And I'm coming to his house. And he goes, no, don't come to my house, bro. Don't come to my house, bro. It's like, fine, bro. And then his friend, this other unhinged dude's taking me. I blocked that other dude, because I'm like, I don't have time for this, bro. Like, I don't have time for this. And texting me like, let's start a fucking beef. Like, let's give the people what they want. I do not, you know. Anyway, so that's part of what happened too. Just in the similarity of getting off the plane and all this chaos happening in your life when that stuff happened. But what I'm saying now is that's all good, because now that is all, like, the most important stories for people are rebirth stories. And that's why the most important story of all time
is Jesus.
Yeah, it's a resurrection story.
It is quite important.
It's a pretty important story.
It's
and I'm not saying
quite important.
You know what I'm saying, but just in terms of, Dante is a rebirth story. It's about, and those are helpful to people. You know, because that's what all religion does. It gives people the ability to imagine a different future. Once you can't imagine a different future, you go terrorist mode. You just want to take everything out that is around you. And sometimes you feel like you can't imagine a better future. And that's when you're in real trouble, right? That's when bad things happen. But, damn. But what were you saying when I cut you off?
I mean, there's so much to say. I was really isolated growing up. Like, I went to a pretty, like, I don't want to say, like, bad school, but they just, like, didn't know what to do with me. And I, like, I tested out of all my classes pretty much. Like, you know, you just kind of take the class so you can take the standardized test, and it says that you're, like, good enough. Yeah. And I, like, my test scores for those tests were such that I didn't need to, like, go to the classes, but they couldn't put me in higher classes. Like, I couldn't get bumped up. And so they, like, put me in this program that was called Challenge, which was, like, I guess it was supposed to be, like, the, like, enrichment for, like, the kids who, like, were, like, not benefiting from the classes. But the challenge teacher, she was, like, pregnant with twins, and she was just, like, never there. Like, I don't know where she was, but, like, it was this room that didn't have any windows, like a small room. And so I would just, like, get off the school bus and, like, go there, and no one was there. And so I would just, like, sit in this room all day, and I didn't even go to the cafeteria. Yeah. I didn't do anything. Like, I just sat in there, and, like, my mom worked really crazy hours, and, like, she wouldn't come home until, like, 9 or 10, and, like, I would go, like, actually would go weeks without speaking. Like, I wouldn't, like, see anybody. I didn't have, like, any friends. And, like, at this time, how do I put this? I, like, I'm just gonna say it like this for everyone's safety. Like, the closest person in my life was this older man who I never saw, and I would talk to him on my phone and on my computer, like, all day. And that was mostly me giving him advice, like he was really like his situation was really messed up, and like he was struggling a lot.
Whoa.
And I would just be like listening to him and trying to help him.
Yeah.
And for years it was like that. And I think
You were saying why you were helping her.
I think that gave me this sort of like role where it was like, this is what I can do, like this is how I can like interact with the world. Is just like trying to help and trying to make things better. And you know, this was like a very formative time, like I want to say ages like 10 to 14. And then like I don't know, I hit puberty, and like I started making friends in the city a little bit and stuff. Like things changed as I got a bit older, but like at that time, like that was what my life was like. It was just like like helping in this super removed way. And I think I applied that, you know, it was like, that's what I could be, like that's what I can do, that's how I can like be useful in the world, is like, let me just try to help, you know. And then I like had this like spiritual journey. And by the way, the reason I don't talk about that in specifics is because I don't think you should go where I have gone. You know, it was so like, as much as it saved my life and changed my life, but it also ruined my life. And like, if you feel, it's just so personal, you know, that if that's something you want, you have to find it on your own. You can't just go where I've gone and do what I've did, because it could mess you up, you know. And I don't want the responsibility of like having like sent somewhere to like the specific schools that I went to, you know, and the like communes that I lived in. You know, like I can't be like responsible for you there. I don't know what would happen to you. I don't know if you'd like it. Like I don't know if it would hurt you.
In that way either.
No, exactly. I didn't plan it. I didn't plan it.
That's what I'm saying. One can't, you know?
No, I met my first teacher because I was smoking a cigarette with this Italian guy, and he was like, come with me. Like, I want you to meet someone, you know? And I was just like, fuck it. All right, let me go. And I probably would have met him anyways, honestly, because it was such a small town. But like, that's how it started.
But then you started directing that impulse, that role towards everybody.
Right. It was like
That's exactly how it was with me.
I had this like education now, and I was like, I can do this better.
Right.
And I do like, I love the girls who write to me. Like I love them. They're so sincere, and I feel them so deeply.
Yeah.
Like it's like, it's been the blessing of my life to be like a sister in that way.
Yeah.
It's the thing I'm most proud of. It's the greatest thing I've been able to do.
Yeah.
I guess like, if there was just like a statement about all of this, it's just that I'm trying to be good.
Yes.
I'm trying my best to be good. And you know, life is long.
Right, but that's an important message. Like that's literally what, and the idea that you even could try to be good, and it's worth trying, is an important message.
Emphasis on trying.
Emphasis on trying. That's what Dante is about. That's what the Dante's book is about. He's saying there's a way you can try to be good. Here are all the sin, you know, here's hell. Here's purgatory, people who are repenting, who are trying to figure out what they did. And then and everything is how let him look at himself. And then here's the model of paradise, of how paradise is just, is there a possible way where you could know what's good? Right here. You could know what's good and you're doing it. Let's just call it, and you could know what's good and you're doing it, and you're just living like clearly, and you're like, that idea that you even could try to do that is an important message for some people, because otherwise it's just grabbing. Yeah, and then I guess that's the thing with like the materialism and stuff that people get triggered by. And that is a real thing. Like maybe that's a thing you're trying to figure out too. Like
yeah, it is something I'm trying to figure out.
The sin of prodigality, which is like spending way too much.
I don't spend that much.
I'm talking about myself.
You spend way too much?
No, I don't think I spend too much, but like I've been like, okay, how do I use the stuff I got from my book to like serve everybody else? Like I should put myself in a circumstance where I feel this pressure to keep podcasting and you know, staying in the city. Like I could have just gone to a hut and hidden, you know, but I wanted to keep moving, you know, like you're saying, like
be where the
use
people
the water
are.
and find more water, you know? And then sometimes that gets put to the test, you know? And part of it is like, but you're assessing yourself and you're sharing your assessment. Well, that's my project. Do you know what I mean? And you're learning constantly. But we're doing part 2. I just restarted it.
Oh, you restarted, but don't you want to smoke?
Kinda, but we just
Okay.
keep it running, yeah?
Guess so. Yeah,
You didn't.
I guess I do want to talk a bit about materialism.
Yeah, we should talk about materialism.
Or like, I don't want to say no one ever helped me, because of course, like, I don't know, I'm just thinking of this, like, as an example.
Yeah.
Because I guess it was kind of formative, but
Let's go outside for a second, huh?
Okay. Oh, yeah, it's good to have that. The page is so funny. Yeah, I guess speaking of people helping, there was this time when I was 9 years old and I was on the train way late and I didn't have a phone because I was 9. And I took the train too far into like a really nasty part of the city, and it's like probably 11 and I'm 9 years old, and I realize that I've missed my stop and I am where I am, and I start crying, you know, and I'm just gonna cross the platform and go wait for the next train, and this old guy approaches me and he's like, "Can I wait with you for the train?" And I'm so scared of him, you know. I'm like, "What do you mean?" And he's like, "No, I want to make sure nothing happens to you. I just want to stay with you." And like, I don't know, I just think about him all the time, you know? Like, he just waited there with me.
You did?
Mm-hmm.
That's the end of the story?
Yeah, he just waited with me, you know, and made sure I was okay. And it was like, I like really shouldn't have been there, you know, and I was really little, and like...
And then someone came and got you?
No, I took the train back.
I got you.
I don't know, I had lice 7 times growing up.
You had what?
Lice 7 times, you know? Like, that only happens, like... I don't know. Yeah, so materialism.
Yeah.
Things are different now. People give me things. And I guess I feel kind of guilty about that, because it feels like it's turning away from what I was or what I came from, or like the idea that I don't know why this isn't like a specific instance, but just the idea that someone I grew up with could like see what I was wearing and that it would hurt them.
Yeah.
You know, it would make them feel sad.
Yeah. You don't like that?
I don't know, but like, I don't think that anything anyone does separates them from God, you know? Like, someone is like overdosing on drugs, they're still with God. God is still within them. Someone is like doing some crazy business deal, doing like the worst thing in the world. Like, you are always with God. You are always connected. Every like act is an enlightened act, you know? Like, that's the ultimate truth. Like, in the relative world, you know,
Not
things...
every act is an enlightened act.
No, that's the thing, like, ultimately.
What you mean? What about the worst acts of all time?
There's the relative truth, which is, like, what we're feeling, and it's, like, if you feel that, it's real for you. But then there's the ultimate truth, which is, like, it's hard to comprehend. It goes beyond our comprehension because we're humans, you know, and there's rights and wrongs and goods and bads. But it's, like, ultimately, like, every single step you take, regardless of whether or not it's like the right step or the wrong step, or it's the good step or the bad step, or your intention is clear or your intention is like selfish, like every step you take is leading you closer to God. Every single step is taking you home, you know? There's no way
This is
to
a difference in
opinion.
Yeah, in our opinion, I think. And I think it has a difference between Buddhism and Christianity, which I like both, but I think it is. I think it is, right? Because, and that was the critique of that book, that Course in Miracles book. Damn it, whatever.
Is Course in Miracles religious?
Yeah, because it's religious,
It's
but
Christian?
no, well, it's like New Age, right? But the critique of it is that it makes the moral relativism too far, and it makes it, right? So it's like you forgive someone because they never did it to you, right? And the person that thinks that someone did something bad to you is your ego, right? But then the critique of it is that it creates a moral relativism that makes no one have any responsibility. Whereas like Dante's very clearly, that's a Christian story, where he's very saying there's very clear right and wrong things, and God will always forgive you. But there is, everyone in purgatory is looking specifically at the ways, like they died and they lived too much in sloth, so they're running around constantly now because they didn't move quickly enough in life, and it's a clear thing, right? So, but I don't think that how I look at it is, if you are clear, yeah, you can disagree with me, but how I look at it is, all of us have our weaknesses, and sometimes for some people it's nice clothes, you know, but
I mean, I would take off everything I was wearing and burn it if it was going to help someone. And I sin every single day.
But I'm saying, if you are clear in what you're doing, right, and what you're like, that you are living in the light.
No, I'm not so certain of that.
Right, but you're trying, and you have faith that you're trying, and then there's larger platforms that are choosing to have shine light on you versus somebody else. That's good for the vision. That's how I feel about, like, that's how I felt about the book coming out on a bigger platform. It's like, no, I'm still with everybody who I was talking to in Philly, and another person who's like this, who has this type of relationship or not relationship with his dad, and doesn't understand quite how to move through the world, and is reaching and questioning, and now that's going to get a bigger platform.
Right, like every version of you is present.
Yeah, still, and that's good for and it's also creating a bigger arc of, and it's also like, yeah, people need to survive, and the only people who think that you don't need to are people who come from money and think that, like, their life is a game, and they can pretend to be some, like, starving artist.
But it's also,
but they don't
I'm
really
like
need
happy
to be.
for you if you got to go to ballet class and learn French, you know, I don't wish that you didn't have that. Like, I wish everyone could have that, you know?
Yeah. You go inside? You want some of this?
Yeah.
It's a little bit. But did I change your point? I didn't mean to change your point.
No, I'm not sure I had one. Like, I am confused about, like, working with brands and stuff, but some feedback I've received that, like, resonates is that it having, not that I'm even, like, so wealthy or anything, but, like, having a little bit of money gives me the creative freedom to, like, say no to certain things, or to not just be, like, so desperately putting out. Like, it enables me to be able to, like, pause and feel, like, what do I want to do, like, what, like look, like, it's like on the hierarchy of needs when you're waking up every day, and not that this was, like, my case necessarily, but it's just like, what am I going to eat today, how am I going to survive today, how am I going to make rent today. You're only looking so far ahead, and you can only afford to look so far ahead, and, like, being endowed with, like, some like context, you know, some momentum, like what working with brands and with these, like, larger houses that, like, and institutions, that enables you to then look further ahead and see, like, what, like, greater plan can I have, like, where do you know what I'm saying?
You're also
like it
you're also changing what those bigger things can represent.
Like, it's like if I'm not posting something every single day, like, trying to make like $50 today, like what am I able to make? Do you know what I mean? Like what like greater thing am I able to harvest? Like which is really a gift, you know, it's really a blessing, and one that I don't really feel like worthy of per se, but it's like what's happening, and who am I to like deny that or think that I'm like better than that, you know, like that I'm like too good for like sponsors. I don't know, like if the, you know, the really like the pure life is like, I've met a lot of guys who do this, you know, who like actually just like, you know, live like ascetically and like wander and like pray, and like they're taking money from people too, you know, I mean, they're doing like alms and stuff, but that's not really something that's like given to women in this life. Like it's just like different being a girl. Like I don't think, like it wouldn't be safe for me to go live in a cave, you know, like nor have I ever really desired that.
But are you really helping people if you live in a cave? You know,
I think you can.
Maybe, but one of the characters, one of the exemplars, because in Dante, every time he says a different sin, yeah, he gives an exemplar of the opposite of it, you know, and then also of an example of it, right? So like the example for the sin of pride is Satan, right? But one of the examples of sloth, which is when you are not doing bad, you're actually doing good, or you know what you're oriented towards the good, which is God and love and the light, but you're just not moving quickly enough, and you're not taking the courage to put into action in the world. That's the sin of sloth. One of the examples he uses is a monk who's obsessed, who just wants to learn in the monastery, and he never applies it to the world.
Well,
I'm just, you know.
But like
that seems relevant.
Yeah, if we dissolve the concept of self and other, though, just like theoretically, because like that is enlightenment, is when there is no difference between you and another person. And like that's another thing people say, like, I'm not sure if she's enlightened. I'm not enlightened, never purported to be enlightened, would love to be enlightened. It's my ultimate aspiration to reach enlightenment, but like in no way am I enlightened. I wouldn't be here if I was enlightened, you know. I'd be in Sukhavati, like being born out of a lotus flower, and I would love that. Like that's like the greatest thing of all time. I'd be in my golden body if I was enlightened. Thank you very much. Like you wouldn't be hearing from me on Spotify. And yeah, that would be nice, and like I'll get there soon enough, but what was I saying?
We were talking about if you dissolve the idea of self and other.
Yeah, if you dissolve the idea,
because I was giving the example of the monk who doesn't leave, right?
Of self and other, like the world needs you to be happy, you know, and like when you are happy, everyone else is a little bit happier, you know, like your blessings are everyone's blessings. And like someone who is like in the cave praying for the benefit of all beings 24/7 is praying for the benefit of all beings 24/7, you know, and that's like a lot more than I can say I'm doing. With that being said, it is so much easier to be happy. It is so much easier to be in like the state of Buddhahood, or like that like primordial mind, when you are living in nature, meditating with a community in the mornings, like eating homemade food that like everyone makes together. Like it's like a really beautiful life in those places, and it's so much harder to be in the city. Like I would honestly say like New York is like the hardest place to be. Like you walk outside and it's like hell, you know, you have to fight, you have to be so in your ego body sometimes.
You're going into the inferno,
and it's
that's the challenge you're taking on.
It's so hard to leave though, you know, like, and I miss it every single day.
That's the choice you made, to leave and go into the world and try to share it.
And I'm not better because of it. Like I'm not saying it's like the right thing or the wrong thing to do, but it's just like what I did, you know, and here I am. And you are never without what you're lacking, I think, ultimately.
Yeah. One, I think that the way I think and the stuff that I'm reading is more, because that's the distinction between a Buddhist mindset and
So
this
the
Christian
Abrahamic
mindset.
religions are a lot more individualistic.
Exactly. So that's the idea. The idea is that the distinguishing idea is that, whether it's right or wrong, but just to be clear about what it is the idea that God could be in man, right? And then suddenly there's a model of how you could be versus just following, right? So then the self other is more clear in that idea, right? So it's like maybe someone sitting in a cave praying is more connected to everybody else in a Buddhist outlook, I'm not saying one or the other is better, but one idea that I think is an interesting idea is that one way that like Dante will critique a more detached self-other view is like these two groups of people in the Greek view, which is the Epicureans and the Stoics. And the Epicureans just want pleasure, and they're the goal of life. They're going to die anyway, and let's just have as much pleasure and sensual,
The
eat
romantics.
good foods. Yeah, I mean, the romantics came later, but the Epicureans is Old Greek. It's before Christ, right? So they have good meals, and
In the bathhouse, orgies.
Sure. Yeah, and then the Stoics try to have complete wisdom and complete detachment from everything, right? And both of them are about a detachment a little bit from the muck of the confusing aspect of life and going through into inferno and purgatory and paradise, which is the Christ view. The Christ view is those are both not living, not going through the journey of trying to figure out in the muck, not staying detached in the cave. The Christ view is, no, you need to take the adventure, and you need to go into the town square, walk into Jerusalem in Holy Week.
Walk into Times Square.
Walk into Times Square. You need to go into the underworld hell of Times Square and try to
love
survive
Times
through it.
Square.
I love Times Square so much. You know what I'm saying? So like I like that idea because that's yeah, I was filming the whole time. But I think that, yeah. Do you think that's an interesting idea?
Knowing that you'll be betrayed in the morning and still going to dinner.
Yeah, still going to dinner.
Still going.
Damn. I think being vulnerable about the ways you're trying and the ways you don't know is a good, helpful thing.
I just want to live in complete surrender. Like not caring.
Yeah.
I think, now I'm like preaching, but like, ask yourself, do you want to do all of this again? Like, do you want to live more human lives? And if the answer is yes, then, by all means, go live more human lives. And if the answer is no, then that feeling, that certainty, that is your blessing and that is your wisdom, and that feeling is the path away.
Do you want to?
No.
Damn.
Yeah, I'm good on this.
I'm good on this.
I'm good on this, like, code rebirth, thank you.
I felt that.
I
never thought of it like that.
Yeah, and I mean, to re-emphasize what I was saying before, it's like, if I'm wrong about what I'm doing, like, I am the one who will suffer the consequences.
Everyone will.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's also a good idea for when you feel really upset that someone that's the way you get out of wrath. And the revenge impulse that people have has been directed towards me, and I feel sometimes too, is you have to remember that everyone will face the consequences of everything they do, and it's not on you
to create. Yeah,
It's not on you to get. It's not on you to.
And I, of course, like
That's a sin. That's pretending to be God.
I fall into that too. Like, of course, everyone does. But it's like, who are you to like demand someone's retribution? Like, are you a fucking cop? Like, are you like
Right.
in charge around here? You
Right.
know,
Right.
like this is what this
Who are
person
you, the
deserves.
authenticity
Like,
police?
No, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, go
make something better.
Go brush your teeth.
Go brush your teeth. Go clean your room. Damn.
Mm-hmm. And no, I'm not.
That's not a hateful idea. That's a good idea. Because what that effect should have on you is when you feel wronged by someone.
But you know,
you can
like,
forgive yourself and forgive them.
I will say it is like.
Because it's not
It
up
is
to
a
you.
lot of responsibility, like all it, and there is no safety net. There is no one like beneath me, and it's not something I can take back or step away from. And like, I ask that you find it in your heart to please forgive me, because like, I mess up all the time. I use wrong speech all the time. I like speak from my ego all the time, you know. And it's like, I'm trying, but there isn't like up close. I don't think it makes much sense. But like if I make like money from a brand deal, which, you know, by the way, like, it is my karma to look like this as well. Like, I want to say, like, it is all part of the picture. You know, I don't think I would have come so far if I didn't have this like you know, I was just like born with a mainstream appearance, and like,
I love things that straddle multiple spheres.
no, but exactly, it's
That's what I
all
think
part
it's
of the
about.
bigger picture,
That's
you
what I think
know.
about, yeah.
Like and this would be a completely different life for me if I didn't look the way I do. And like, I hope I don't sound pretentious. It just like is what it is.
You don't
Is that
control that, though.
yeah, exactly. I just like was born this way, and I've like received a lot of blessings from like that, and also just having good health, you know, and like having a clear mind, and like not having being born without the addiction gene, which, let me tell you, is like a miracle from where I'm from, that I have like been able to see certain things and leave them.
You got born into the addiction gene?
Mm,
Time will tell.
yeah, time will tell. And you know,
get what
like,
you get.
yeah, you get what you get, I guess. But yeah, I don't know. This is just what's happening.
Yeah.
And like, I'm sorry if it hurts, but it'll ultimately like hurt me the most, probably. But if there's no self and other, then I guess everyone's just like, I don't know if I'm being clear. I guess I do feel some guilt about the direction I'm heading with like agency backing and brand deals.
I think you said good.
Mm-hmm.
I think you said everything good.
I just like, at this time, I need that money for my family.
You're just navigating.
Yeah, and like,
We all are, always.
it's maybe like 5 years from now, I'll be like, oh, that was so dumb of me. Like, I was so like prideful.
Fashion is nice.
But I know, I will say that I don't really like,
It's okay to like fashion.
yeah, I like clothes and beauty and like
Spend a
beautiful
band on
things.
fashion.
But I also, you know, it's like good karma to like regard something as beautiful. Like when you see a flower in the wilderness, you're not like, oh, that's my flower.
Beauty is
This
not bad.
You're not like, oh, this is my beauty, my flower. You're just
Right.
like appreciating the flower wholly, you know?
Right.
Like the beauty that is this like world, and the fact that the flower lives in complete surrender, you know? Like the flower can't help but grow because the sun nourishes it, and the rain, and the flower doesn't ask for rain. It just like comes and it grows. But yeah, when I go to like an event and I'm dressed, I feel so weird and scared, and like I feel like a prostitute. And
But you're not. Yeah.
in a way, I am.
What do you mean? No, I'm
In
saying
a
you're
way.
not materialistic in that way. In my opinion.
Let me think if I covet. No, I do. I also like, I mean, I see, and this is also like, I'm definitely trying to like justify myself. Like there's something
don't.
like I don't like about everything, but I own very few things, you guys. Like I have like
Yeah, you own almost nothing.
Yeah, I have like no worldly possessions.
Could probably use some more worldly possessions.
No, probably not.
Okay.
Um,
I always try to make something that's really part of the way you create an eternal artwork is give it respect as its own entity and try to make it as beautiful as possible. That's the thing I think about. I try to make a beautiful flower when I try to finish a book or a story.
yeah, but when you make that, it's not yours
It's
anymore.
not
You're
mine.
not like,
It's not
that's my
mine.
fucking
No,
flower.
no,
Like, this
no.
flower is mine.
No.
It's like,
It's God's.
yeah.
Make things that shine and radiate light.
And then when you make something, and I've never released like a long-term project. I've never like worked on something because I haven't been able to afford to. It's always been like immediate release.
Sweet release.
Sweet release.
You're
I
going
guess
to,
that's
though.
a bit of a long-term project.
Yeah, no, everything is part of the project.
No, but like I'm just
A
saying the
physical object.
difference creatively
Yeah, physical
is you
object, right.
like work towards things
Right.
over long periods
Right.
of time. But then it's like once you release that, you are surrendering that to the universe. Like it's not yours anymore. It's like,
Yeah.
here you go. This
Yeah.
is my offering.
Yeah. Beauty, magic, light. Oh yeah, light. Yeah, I forgot I was gonna say something about light radiating through. Oh yeah. Everybody who comes at someone in that way is operating in an egoic way of when someone's upset at somebody else in a projection-like way.
I mean, I just don't want to let anyone down.
Yeah.
I don't want
That's
to
an-
like.
That's an honorable impulse, but all I'm saying is that.
But like this,
Okay, sorry,
but this
go ahead.
archetype that we're talking about, where
Right.
it's like, oh, she was so pure, and then
Right.
like the money and the fame got to her head, and now like she's like,
The tale is all this time.
I just don't want to disappoint you, because I'm not like starving,
But everyone who is operating,
and I may starve again.
but it's not anybody's response. It's like what I'm saying with like the whole like thinking you are some arbiter on somebody else, right? Like in that same way, like when someone's operating in an egoic way and projecting something, because like for example, what happened with me, like if you go through every single claim that someone made against me, every single one is a projection of everything that they were going through. And when someone's operating in that way, it's not on you to correct it. Like we're doing this pod, but it's not on you to correct it. Everyone,
I say you might be right.
everyone,
You might have a point.
You might be right. Everyone has to go on that journey on their own.
And everything that
So that's-
anyone says is always right. Like everything is correct.
I'm less of a moral relativist.
I don't know if
I'm
I
the
call
law.
myself that. I don't really like labels.
I know. Yeah, exactly. That's too much. But I know I like that. I like that idea, because everyone's speaking from some truth that they have.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I could probably live more like that instead of saying I'm right. I like saying that I'm right in a prideful way.
Do you want to play bananagrams?
Yeah, let's play bananagrams.
Do you actually want to?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's drink more coffee and eat some food. Maybe you wanna?
Then play bananagrams
And play
and go to the
bananagrams.
beach.
Yeah, let's do it. I'm down.
All right.
Okay.